so everyone can hear the questions. So with that, we'll get to Coach Ferentz.
Thanks, Matt. So just, start out to say, happy to describe how I feel about our guys. Just really proud of the effort everybody put in today and really all season long. It's been a great group of guys to work with, the players, coaching staff, and I think that showed today certainly. So, we've gone through some bumps, had some things happen during the course of the year, even this week, losing a key player. But no matter what, these guys stay together. They stay tough and really care about each other. And I think that's, demonstrated in the play out there. So today was no different, probably a fitting way for us to get this done because there's nothing easy today. Goes right down to the end there, certainly. And but again, I think it just points back to the character of the guys that we have. And I was actually thinking about this today when I was taking my walk out there, this morning. Go back to 81 when I walked in here not knowing anything about this university. And two guys that I meet right off the bat. You got Andre Tippett, who's a Hall of Fame player, college and NFL. Unbelievable talent, unbelievable guy to this day, just a diehard Hawkeye. And then you got Brad Webb on the other side. They were a tandem in that 34 defense. And Brad's a walk-on from Chicago who also ended up being a captain. And same characteristics. So whether you're talking about a guy who's a NFL Hall of Famer, or a guy like Brad Webb who went on to go to law school and very successful now in his business life, all that stuff. That's really what the game's all about, and that's 40 some years ago. But that's the beauty of this whole thing. So really proud of our guys. Just a great group of guys to work with, and sorry to keep you waiting, but wanted to savor every bit of this with the players and the coaching staff. So I'll throw it out for questions.
Kirk, Tom Kakert, Hawkeye Report. You got a game ball from Phil. What were the emotions running through you at that moment, and what did that mean to you to share it with the team?
Yeah, I want to preface that because, it's a Michigan State guy giving a guy a ball to move past the guy from Michigan. So I think it was a little self-serving on his part, quite frankly. But, I never got into it for that reason. And certainly 23 years ago, you could have made some money on that one if you'd placed a friendly wager, not like a real bet. You can't do that. But but again, it goes right back to what I just talked about, the caliber of people that have been through here. Had a lot of great coaches come through here, and same thing with the players. Like it's all about that. And you got Dallas Clark in there, you thought he played today, in the locker room. So that's 20-something years ago, but that's just the beauty of this whole thing.
David Eichholt, 24/7 Sports. Kirk, you've always talked about when players go through injuries, it can be a long, lonely road. But I mean, seeing Cade, Cooper, Eric on the sideline always seems like they've always had a smile on their face whenever the team's succeeding. No different today. Cooper, walking off the field, just you'd think like you said, you think he'd play in the game. What about your culture in this specific team has allowed players that normally would be on the outside still be fully invested in the team? And Noah Shannon, for that part, for not even playing either.
Perspective's a big thing in life too, and unfortunately, had to go in July. Didn't have to go, but attended a funeral of one of our former players who died way too young. And then somewhere in camp, another former player who I never got to coach, but missed him by a couple of years, stopped out of practice. He just buried his son. So, there's a lot of tough things in sports. Losing is hard, and injuries are just, really hard, especially for the individual affected. But you got to keep perspective on this too. And, it's a game. We're all trying our best. We're all doing our best, hopefully. But in the big scheme of things, we're all fortunate to be competing and being part of something like this.
John Seppi, Cedar Rapids Gazette, kind of along those lines, with all the adversity, all the players out, all the other kinds of adversity, how much sweeter does this make a moment like today? Yeah,
one thing I do know something about is coaching here. That's probably about all I know about, quite frankly. I got some thoughts on beers and coffee, and ice cream. But that's just kind of the way it is here. Like, there's nothing easy here. It really hasn't been during my 34 years here, unless you get that rare year like in 02, where things just kind of just took off. But even then, we go over to Indiana and got to pick it off twice in the red zone, or else we come out there with a loss. I don't think they'd won a game yet. So that's just the nature of this sport. And, but this group is really, they've endured a lot. coming out of state college, things weren't looking too good for us. And then going into our bye week, things weren't looking too good. But the guys don't buy that narrative. They don't buy into all this stuff out there. And, so that's really what it gets back to is, when you work with quality people that are looking forward, not backwards, then you got a chance. Yep.
Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register. Just with everything that's gone on this season, how, for you personally, how have you just managed your own emotions?
It's kind of the same answer. Like, there's things that come up in sports that are tough in life, but what keeps you going are the people you're with every day. And that's what I enjoy, being on the practice field where there's no stuff going on. It's just about football and trying to teach and get better and watch guys improve. And, so that's a beauty of this. And that's the purest thing about coaching is being with your players in the meeting room or out there in the field or doing stuff with them just like, off away from football, but being with them. It's not like coaching an English class where, they have to show up for football. They come because they want to. And I'll go back. I mean, just watching, Caleb Johnson hasn't played a lot the last couple of weeks. But I'll tell you, he's practiced well every day. He's kept his chin up and worked forward. And to see him break through there today, that's huge. Not only for our team, but it's a good moment for him, too. And hopefully it taught him a lesson about just keep working. Keep working. When you get called on, hopefully you take advantage of the opportunity. And Caleb Brown, same way. He didn't play at all early, I don't think. And then, here he is. Looks like he's developed into a pretty good football player, too. So that's the fun of it. And the offensive line is hopefully gaining some confidence. And we lost 2 guys today to injury. But everybody kept playing. And, defense gave some ground today, some yardage. And we gave up 1 drive there. But when we needed it, we had it there in that last possession, 3, 4 and out. So that was the game right there, and it's so those are the things that are really, gratifying, if you will. And that goes ahead of what's going on personally with you.
Scott Sable from KCRG, Coach. It's been next man in all year. Can you talk about Caden Weegan and the spark he gave you with that punt return?
No question, and I don't mind talking. I was a little nervous early because that kick return and then the punt, which was a weird punt. It was just like a line drive, but but then he came up and and he's an interesting guy. Like, he's got a good spirit to him, and he's practiced well. So that's a good moment for him too, talking about like guys that maybe haven't done a lot yet, but it's really good. So that's got to give him some confidence, and that's the fun part about this too is you never know who's going to do what when, and so it makes it interesting, makes it fun.
Adam Jacoby, Go Iowa Awesome. Coach, Deacon Hill comes in, and there probably weren't a whole lot of people expecting him to be the one that leads this team to a division championship, back in...
Including me.
Right.
Yeah.
And how has it been to sort of coach him and Cade through all that adversity that they experienced even before the season started?
Cade's done a good job of... staying engaged. He's back now. He's got his surgery and all that stuff. So he's stayed engaged, been supportive. And then Deacon, again, he gets thrust in there and really doesn't have a lot of experience. You start doing the research, it's like, okay. But he's so improved even when he started playing, whatever it's been, 6-7 weeks ago, compared to where he was in August, he had improved. And we've seen improvement. And he made some big plays today. He had some that weren't so good maybe, but he made some big plays today, including the run. So you got to give him a lot of credit. And I think I mentioned to you, last whatever week it was, came in the locker room, the players just, you can tell from the players, you can tell how they feel about somebody, and there's a reason why they feel that way. So, they're so supportive of him, and everybody's happy. And it's probably a little bit representative of our football team, how'd that happen, one of those deals. And, all of a sudden he's the guy that's quarterbacked us basically the last, whatever it's been now, 5 weeks. Has it been 5 or 6? Post-Penn State, whatever it's been. So you got to give him a lot of credit, and he's hung in there. And I'm sure he's had his down moments too, but he's hung in there and just kind of kept pushing. Yep.
Scott Docterman from The Athletic. I wanted to ask you about the counterplay and the touchdown there. I was looking at kind of the roster of who's out there. You've got a backup center, you've got a backup guard, you've got your third team tight end, but he's driving somebody into the second, into the third level, and your running back is a guy who was on the bench and then comes in at a big moment. Is that in some ways, am I being crazy saying that that play almost symbolizes your season where you've got all these parts and then you're, counter before this year you didn't run a lot of counter.
Yeah. It's helped us out, and we have a good comfort level with it to that point. Yeah, it does. Totally. It does. And I got to interject. My favorite fan moment today, not every now and then I'll hear the fans. I think we were like 4th and 1, like on our far 9-yard line, and everybody's booing because we were punting. Like, seriously? But anyway, so, but I think we were getting booed for running the ball prior to that last play, too. And, you just stick with it. You stick with what you think you're going to do. And then the fact that you mentioned all the moving parts. Last week, our big play guy, Zach Ortworth, who was, thinking about the high school prom 6 months ago. So you just never know what's going to happen. But those guys have just jumped in and done a good job. Addison's unbelievable. He's a really good young guy and a good player. And, for that run, I mean, it was perfect. So, yeah, that's how this team's worked.
We'll do 3 more, Owen, Thad, and then Tom.
Owen Sebring with KGAN. The TV cameras caught you and Brian in an embrace there after the game. Can you just talk to us about either what you guys said to each other in that moment or what this game was like, knowing it was your last time together here at Kinnick?
Yeah. So we had senior day today, and then also, his last day here. So there's some sentimental value to that, certainly. And so just glad it turned out the way it did. I'm just really proud of him. He's been just really, I think, admirable in the way he's handled a very tough situation. And I'm not quite sure I know how he's done it, but I really am proud of him as a dad. And, can't say enough about that, but I do try to keep things separate. And I'm really proud of him as a head coach, too. And again, I think we've got a great staff here of guys that just, care about the right things. And, you think about Phil Parker's been here 25 years now, right? That's in this environment of coaching. Good luck finding. He's had 2 jobs now in his career. So, there aren't many guys smart enough to know they have a good thing, and Phil has, and what a job he's done. But we got really good guys on our staff. So, just really proud of all of them.
Chad Leistico, Des Moines Register. I guess along the same lines, we don't get to talk to Brian today, but if he were here, you as his father, like what would he say about what this means to him? Do you think?
Anytime you can be a champion, if you can say champion, that's a good thing. And there's more goals out there to be had. Nothing will be easy, but I think we're all thinking the same thing here. Just it goes back to the players. Like, that's why we do this, and just so happy for these guys, what they've endured, what they've gone through, and they know what's going on too. So I mean, they're on board, and again, they've never flinched, including today. It would have been easy today, but everybody stayed the course. Same thing last week. We just kept pressing, and some good things have happened. So it's all you can ask for in life is hey, just straight ahead and see what comes out of it. And if we'd come up short today, we'd go back to work on tomorrow and see what we can do about the next one. And we'll still do that. But I did encourage the guys to maybe break the 24-hour rule this time. We'll make an exception, small exception. May not play our starters next week like the NFL, right? Just we're gone, right? So what the hell? Keep the starters home. Let them rest.
Tom Kakert, Hawkeye Report. Easy question for you, Kirk. Update some of the injuries along the offensive line with Logan and Rusty and those guys.
It's just, again, the credit goes to Tyler Ellsbury. Anything there, that's a good story, too. He got thrust into it a couple weeks ago. And me personally watching him, I think the only thing he's lacked for maybe at least a year, maybe longer, is confidence. I'm not sure he believes in himself, and that's part of the phenomenon of the sports stuff. But after the way he's played the last couple of weeks, he should be confident as hell. But you can't give that to somebody, just like you can't give experience. And it's not that he hasn't been working hard, but somewhere in his recesses of his mind, he didn't believe he could do it maybe. That's my theory. I can't prove that. But, he should know now. He's played really well in 3 pivotal games for us. And, so that's the fun part about this. And, he'll be a guy that plays well for us moving forward. And so sometimes good things come out of, tough situations like that. And it's tough when you lose a good player like Logan Jones. But that's the beauty of it all. So, anyway, yeah. So I was a Boston Celtic fan growing up. Red Auerbach. What if you did that today? Lit a cigar up on a bench. You'd have everybody mad, did he? Yeah. I knew he smoked butts on the sideline. I knew that. He does smoke butts, right? So.
He had a cigar once.
Anyway, I'm showing restraint. I'm not doing that, but, love Red Auerbach, and my all-time favorite player is Bill Russell, all time. So, anyway, still the ultimate winner, him and Gable. All right, thanks. See you guys.
Thank you, everybody.